you have spent a life on the road, and I'm kind of interested in what it's like coming back here and sort of depressurizing, if you like, when you've spent that time on the road, you've been gigging, you've got that adulation, and you've been working tirelessly, and then you come back to somewhere like this. It must be a difficult decompression process.
Well, it's quite easy, actually. Bron set the rules, my wife, a long time ago. She said you got 2, 3, I think it was 3 days, to being a rock star, to being a husband and a father. And so she's very tolerant for the transition period. But it really is quite seamless now. There are routines that you have to change, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. On the road, everything's catered for you. That's why people get end-of-tour blues, not because they don't want to go home, but because something is changing in the routine of their lives. And so from doing that daily routine, including the travel, every single day, 5 cities a week, performing in, and a bit of time for layovers, it's quite different but seamless. I found it that way.
You've been married to Bron since, what, 1984? Is that right?
Yeah, since 84 married, yeah.
Which in kind of rock and roll years is like centuries, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm getting quite fond of her.
But it is unusual in rock and roll particularly when you've been on the road for so long. I mean, is that, do you think, part of the secret of a successful marriage, that you're actually away a lot?
Could be. None of us believe in mixing business and pleasure. It's we've learned from that a long time ago. So, and when you think about it, it's quite normal. You don't take your spouse to the factory with you. You don't take your spouse or your partner to the office with you. You don't do that. And so whenever you mix the two, there are normally problems, because it's hard to separate the two, and the responsibilities and the emotions. You bring a domestic emotion into a professional position where you've got to do certain things because they're obligations. And you can't deal with something that needs dealing with. It's tricky. It's tricky. I've seen a lot of, and experienced a lot of problems in that area. So yes, I think, well, I remember the time when I came home, I'd been home, I looked at the front doors before I moved down here. And my suitcase was at the door. And I said to B, that's really weird. I'm sure I put the suitcase away. She said, you did. She said, but you've been home long enough. I called Phil. He's booked some dates. The car will be here in a couple of hours.